Hi there everybody, my name is Devansh and I'm the lead tutor at FinTutors. FinTutors is a CIMA registered tuition provider and we have won the Global Pass Rate Excellence Award 2 years in a row now. So I'm happy to present my pre-scene synopsis. Remember, this is only a synopsis of my entire pre-scene. We have tried to jam in a whole lot of important information within 60-65 minutes, giving you a very good peep into the Saefwell pre-scene, into how you can learn from the pre-scene, and into important topics of E3, P3 and F3 which you must revise before you start your mock exams or before you sit the final exam. So this pre-scene is going to be a great tool for you to help you understand major areas of this company plus major topics that you must revise. So this is only a breakdown and a synopsis of my entire pre-scene analysis, which is close to 3 hours long. It covers every single part in detail, and important discussions of E3, P3 and F3 are made to give you an important list of topics, to point out the top 10 issues which we feel will come up in the exam. All of that is in my detailed analysis, but over here in 60 minutes I have tried to cover the most important parts, and I'm sure you will find it helpful. So let us begin. Before I start with the introduction, let me get this very clear of how this pre-scene analysis is going to work. So the first thing that I want you to understand is that my pre-scene analysis is based wholly on the pre-scene that is released by CIMA. There is nothing that we have actually changed from the actual pre-scene. What we do is we take the actual pre-scene which is released by CIMA and then add our own suggestions to it, not changing anything. And rest assured that everything in the pre-scene released by CIMA is covered by us. We are not going to miss out on anything or leave out on anything, so please do not worry about that. All you have to do is watch my video from the very beginning carefully and everything will be covered. That's the first instruction. The second instruction is, while I go through the pre-scene with you, I am going to repeatedly point out E3, P3 and F3 syllabus areas or topics which I feel are important, and I will also be pointing out important aspects in the pre-scene by highlighting them like you can see on your screen to make sure that we understand the major points. So I want you to have a Word file or a piece of paper with you where you are writing down the important topics from E3, P3 and F3 which I point out. So you understand that these are the bare minimum topics which you should have knowledge of and which you should have revised in your own time, so that it can make so that the pre-scene will make more sense, and because these topics can be tested in the exam. So first, everything is covered in my pre-scene. Second, make a list of important topics which I discuss with you. And third, very important, watch my pre-scene analysis with commitment, conviction and without any disturbance, and everything will fall into place. That's how student friendly it is. That's how understandable it is, because that's how we create it. So let's start. Saefwell is a quoted company that offers advice and support on corporate security and enterprise risk management. So ERM and corporate security is something that our company offers advice and support for. Now, anything which I find important, I will always highlight. So I found two things important. Firstly, quoted company and advice and support. So because quoted company is mentioned, let me know and keep in my mind quickly that because we are listed on the stock exchange, we have to discuss the benefits and limitations of being a listed company quickly. Advantages are, you have access to capital, you can issue new shares if you need capital. You have better visibility because everybody can know your stock price easily because you are listed. The disadvantages are there are lots of reporting requirements, there are lots of government requirements, which if you don't meet, there can be fines and penalties. So okay, let me keep it in my mind from the onset that I am a listed company. And because we are talking about listing, it will be important because any listed company's financial statements, if you would have seen, you will see that there will be a whole detailed financial report, statement of profit or loss, statement of financial position, cash flow statement, profitability ratios, lender ratios, investor ratios. All of this will be very clearly there, right? So for my company as well, these ratios which are there in your F3 syllabus, you see how I'm linking the pre-seen to your syllabus areas? So these ratios are there in your syllabus area. So revising the use of these ratios, revising what these ratios are, is a very important place to start with. This is from your F3 syllabus. Let's continue. The company offers a number of different services ranging from provision of security guarding. So security guarding is your physical security, to consulting on enterprise risk management, which is your risk advisory or cyber security guidance, let's put it that way. So first we did the introduction. Now we are doing security industry analysis, which is part of the pre-seen. So the modern day security industry dates back to the middle of the 19th century. Previously, security companies provided little more than physical protection for individuals and for property. Earlier, the word security meant physical security. By the mid 1800s, security companies started to offer intelligence-led services, primarily focusing on protecting clients from your loss. These services included counter-espionage and fraud investigation. If something wrong is going on in your organization, security services started providing analysis as well of the same. This was termed as intelligence services. So considering the nature of the business, having a strong external market analysis and customer analysis will be very important for us, because you can see every century, or rather in today's modern world, in a decade, 2 decades, 50 years, industry hugely changes. So if I want to be aware of the changes which are happening in the industry, a strong external market analysis and a strong customer requirement analysis will be needed, which means I will need to have specific skills within my organization to analyze the external market, because this could be a comparative advantage for me as a company, as Saefwell. And because I'm speaking about external market analysis, competitor analysis, customer analysis, your E3 syllabus is going to cover these concepts. So you should know the different external market analysis tools, the customer analysis tools. It's there in your E3 syllabus. Typically, a major security company will offer some or all of the following services. First, very standard on-site guarding. Clients often outsource their physical security arrangements to security companies. On-site guarding can be, staff reception desks, entrances, checking visitor credentials, patrolling premises, providing security staff for retail shops. Very standard on-site guarding. This is the first service offered by major security companies. The second one is mobile guarding. Now, mobile guarding uses vehicle patrols to visit client premises at random intervals. Security guards will check if the doors are locked and there is no sign of anything going wrong. So, mobile guarding. Third is remote services. Clients can pay to have their electronic security systems monitored when their premises are unoccupied. Security companies have control rooms that receive any notifications if something is going wrong. And staff are trained to respond to any alarms, usually by notifying the police and a designated contact such as a manager. So remote services is remotely keeping an eye on your premises, on your assets, to make sure nothing has gone wrong. Now these, you can see the varying nature of services. There is on-site service, there is mobile guarding, there is remote service, and furthermore which we are going to learn, which we are going to go through. After that, we are going to information chart which says that Saefwell has the second highest global revenues of all security companies. So in the entire world, they are saying Saefwell is the second largest company offering security solutions. So doesn't this mean that you are a very, 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 very large company, because this is all over the world and your turnover is above, like close to 16-17 billion dollars. It's a very large company. Above us, there is only one company, which is Grover Facilities, which is almost at 28-29 billion dollars. So so Grover is almost 1.5 to 2 times larger than us, but second in the world is Saefwell. So you are pretty much in a strong dominant market position. Let's remember this. Some security companies specialize in intelligence-led services. Risumto, Viscoprov and Poldor Safe focus on advising and training clients. So they are saying that there are some companies which only focus on some niches, which means that these 2-3 companies that they've mentioned, they specialize in intelligence services. Minitron, Kinetic Alarm and Tremwell Guard, 3 other companies, focus on protecting client, staff and property through on-site guarding, mobile guarding, remote services. So these are niche companies. 3 companies first focusing on intelligence-led services. The next 3 companies focusing on protecting client, staff and property. Gralda, Brotto and Saefwell focus on security, offering both physical and intelligence-led. So we are looking at all of these services combined. That's what they're trying to tell us, and naturally that has to be the case. Only then we can be such a large player in the market. Now these are all driving factors for my industry and company, that there are many, there are many competitors in this market. There are many opportunities in the market. So I've already mentioned the importance of segmentation and external market analysis for you up until now. Next, physical security services have been detailed upon over here. Now, physical security services involve the provision of trained staff to undertake one or more security duties. Simple. These range from staffing reception areas, checking credentials, patrolling, asking potential intruders to explain their presence, normal physical security stuff. Many countries have legislations that require security staff to be licensed if they are employed to carry out frontline work on behalf of third parties. So the need for a license, the regulation is coming into the picture over here. So it's very natural that, some staff, let's say you are such a large company, 1 or 2 or some staff, let's say 1%, 5% of your staff, you are quickly looking to hire to fulfill a security job, and that is why you don't check their credentials properly. You don't check the credentials of your newly hired security staff, and you then realize something goes wrong at that particular site, and then you realize that your staff does not have the needed license. It could be a very big risk for your company, right? So inherent risk in this business is quite high. Fraud risk, like I said, for example, the employee not giving you their license or giving you a fake license which you have not been able to check is a fraud that occurred within your organization, is a malfeasance that occurred within your organization. So inherent risk in this business is quite high, and fraud risk in many different ways. Fraud risk indicators, fraud risk management is something very important from your P3 syllabus. This is just one example, one scenario that I gave you which came to my mind. but they can ask fraud risk in many different ways to you. So licenses are required for guarding property, operating surveillance equipment like your CCTVs, and holding keys on behalf of third parties. All of this is, all of these are jobs which require licenses. You just can't have any person do this job. There are government rules as well. Licenses are granted to applicants who have completed an approved training course and have passed the assessment. The government's licensing authority then carries out a criminal record check to confirm that the employee that you are, the person that has gone through this training does not have any offenses. License holders must inform the licensing authority if they are charged of any criminal offense. Like I said, if they don't and it goes through, if they become part of your organization because you don't have strong internal controls, there is strong risk of fraud, there is strong risk of malfeasance, strong risk of something going wrong, which will cost your company dearly. So licenses are, this is your P3 syllabus. Licenses are not normally required for security staff who are employed directly by the company that uses their services. So because third parties are involved, for example, X company is employing Saefwell to give them security, physical security personnel, then licenses become required. But if me as a company, I'm directly going outside and hiring people, then licenses are not needed generally because a third party comes into the picture. So we spoke about physical security, now intelligence. So intelligence-led services tend to require specialist consultants. Not anybody, not just anybody today can come up and start offering intelligence-led services. Clients will usually be seeking advice on specific matters that require expertise. So having expert consultants part of your organization will be very, very important. For example, a client might want some reassurance that its security systems are effective and could ask a security company to attempt to gain access without being detected. That could involve using a team of security experts, using the same techniques which criminals would use. But for that, you'll need those experts, right? If somebody comes to you and tells you, okay, check my cyber security framework or check my website security, you need to have those experts within your organization who can provide this, right? So this is an expert field. Since any system that you use will be using data, and the types of cyber security risks and protections against the same must also be kept in mind. So remember, firstly, whenever you are doing any intelligence-led services, data plays a role. The data that you have, the data that you have gathered, the data that you will receive from your customer to provide those services. So data will play a very important role. And because data is coming into the picture, the protection of this data, which is in your P3 syllabus, different digital security techniques, tools become very, very important for you to know and understand as a company. Evidence of weaknesses might then be presented to senior management. Clients might make a similar request to test the security of their online systems. Again, consultants would apply the same techniques used by hackers. So a very favorite exam question which I can clearly see over here is that an intelligence-led service we supplied malfunctions and does not prevent a cyber attack. There was a problem, we provided the service and we said everything is okay. But there was still a problem which we didn't detect. So we didn't prevent a cyber attack. The board of directors and the company is blamed for this, Saefwell is blamed for this, and our governance comes into the picture. Our internal controls come into the picture. So your corporate governance can be tested this way. Your internal controls can be tested this way. I'm giving you straightforward exam scenarios which can come up. Naturally, I'm pointing this out. Second, you will revise this. And third, I will make you write mock questions on this. So there is no chance of any loophole being left in our study pattern as long as you follow, the detailing that I am doing. The objective of such an exercise is hopefully to confirm that the targeted systems and files are not vulnerable. Although a successful attempt to hack the system will alert the client as to the system's shortcomings and allow a solution to be developed. So this is pretty much your penetration testing concept, where you as a security service provider are trying to penetrate the systems of your client to understand where the weakness is. This is penetration testing. From the industry analysis we know, which is a very growing market. Lots of companies are doing this. And from your P3 syllabus, penetration testing should be something that you are clear about. The types of testing, system integration to conduct penetration testing will be highly reliant on technology. Hence, again, your data topics, protection of data topics is coming into the picture over here. So, Saefwell was founded in 1920 as a security company specializing in providing guards to protect clients' premises. So, we started as a small security company back in 1920. Now, just imagine a company that has been in business for 104 years. Is it possible to survive without huge growth, without good customer base, without goodwill? Absolutely not. So you need to remember that you are a company that's been in the market for 104 years, which means you are like a legacy business in your home country specifically. Everybody will know your business in the security, may it be physical security or cyber security market, because you've been in the market for such a long time. And every market goes through booms, recessions in 104 years. Your company has been able to survive all of this. So it says a lot about the company. So remember, you have been in the market for a very long time. So it's bound, so you are bound to have good reputation. Reputation risk comes into the picture over here because of our current standing. Because with 104 years in the market, naturally we will have had good goodwill, customer base, customer support, and all of this can possibly lead to reputation risk. So you need to remember, I have been in the market for 104 years. The company continues to offer physical security services, currently employing 460,000 security staff worldwide, operating in 74 countries. So it's a multinational company, very clear. Your operations are not limited to one country, one region only. 74 countries and 460,000 security staff. You can imagine the size of the business. So what I learn over here, straightforward, and what is going to be an exam question in my opinion, 100% rather, is going to be relating to your different currencies. So different countries is equal to different currencies. So currency risk and its management comes into the picture over here, because your home country's currency is going to be different to the currency in which your businesses are running. So F3 syllabus, how will the currency risk be managed? Different countries is equal to different employment rules, different government rules. So your political risk comes into the picture, which is again your P3 syllabus. And different countries means transfer pricing issues also come into the picture, which is your P3 syllabus, because goods, services, some kind of inventory, some kind of, majorly for your business services will be transferred from your home office to another country where your operations are running. So what is the transfer price being involved in these services? That is an issue that can also come up, which is P3 syllabus. And because there is so many personnel to deal with in your organization, a strong culture will be needed within the organization and a strong code of ethics policy to ensure smooth and successful running of the business. The CIMA code of ethics is a sure shot again question in the exam. Some way, somehow they are going to ask it. So it's best that you revise it at this stage, because for your company, ethics is going to be a major consideration because of the large size of operations. So currency risk, ethics, both are top issues which I feel are going to come up. Let's continue. Saefwell has been a major provider of intelligence-led risk management services since 1970s. So 1920 to 1970, majorly we were focusing on physical security. From the 1970s, we have become major provider of intelligence services as well. So the company now employs 22,000 risk management consultants, most of whom are based in the company's head office in Barland's capital city and at 4 regional offices around the world. So your main office is in Barland's capital city, and then you have 4 other regional offices around the world. So now again think, because you have your regional offices, those offices can be your assets, or the office furniture, computer within those offices are your assets. So you own assets in different currencies, so your translation risk again comes into the picture over here. This is again F3 syllabus. Those who have done your E3, P3 and F3 revisions, what I'm discussing right now will make sense to you. Those who have not done the revision will now have clear indication that these are important topics which you need to be clear about. Next, risk management consultants expect to travel to assignments, enabling the company to provide almost worldwide coverage for its services. For example, a company in India needs our penetration testing services. So our risk consultants from Barland will fly to India and provide that service. So we are pretty much a worldwide business. Saefwell has completed consultancy and training projects in 132 countries over the past 20 years. So these are all your core competencies. You are operating in 74 countries. You have completed 132 consultancy and training projects. You have 460,000 security staff. You have 22,000 risk management consultants. All of these are strengths for your business because your backbone is so strong. It's part of the pre-scene naturally. So physical security, the first service that we provide is reception services. So large office buildings usually have security measures in place to ensure that only employees and legitimate visitors can obtain access. You just don't want anybody to get access to large office buildings. So there is always a reception. Those measures might include requiring staff to operate a gate using their staff pass or identity card and asking visitors to sign at the reception desk. These are different controls which have put in place. Saefwell uses experienced staff to provide reception services because intruders could gain access to sensitive information, which can be a big issue for your company because you are the security staff. Plus, it can be an issue for a client where if a loss has occurred, there is very much possibility of a lawsuit against your company as well. So controls to make sure that these controls which are mentioned on your screen, like checking the identity card, opening the gate, making sure that these controls are actually working are important. So that's reception service. Second, site security. Companies often employ security guards to protect factories and storage sites to prevent theft and safeguard your staff. So procedures again over here can include checking credentials of employees, checking the vehicle loads, patrolling the sites to check whether everything is in order. So many of Saefwell's site security staff have previously served in the military. So please remember, you are hiring not just anybody, staff with good background. That is why, maybe you have been able to grow because your service is unique. So since you are closely working with clients, you are providing this service to clients, right? So your relationship with the clients and the lifetime customer value will be of high importance. You don't want to lose the customer. This is a very, very important thing to understand in this industry. If a client wants site security, you give it to them. If they want reception service, you give it to them. If they want, for example, a janitor service, which is not really your job, companies still go ahead and provide that service so that the client knows that if there is any problem, Saefwell will help me out. If there is any service that I need, Saefwell will provide it for me. So increasing the client relationship, increasing the lifetime customer value is very, very important in this industry. Because if the client gets this service from somebody else and then realizes that that company is also providing site security, so let me just go with that company is providing me everything. Why am I going with Saefwell? So providing more which is within your remit and which is something which you can easily provide to increase the lifetime customer value is important. Next, we have retail security. So supermarkets and other large retailers can lose significant amount of goods due to theft and shoplifting. So Saefwell can provide support by providing teams of security staff to deter theft. Security officers can be ununiformed or uniformed to whatever the preference is of the client. Saefwell's shop security staff are trained to gather evidence. They call the police when they identify cases of theft. Saefwell provides, so these are your physical security services: reception, site security, retail security. But please remember the concept of client relationship and lifetime customer value, which I have mentioned. Now, coming to intelligence-led services. So for intelligence, first is risk advisory service. Now, Saefwell's clients often seek independent advice on the risks associated with strategic business decisions. For example, a company can go to Saefwell and say that I'm launching this new product. What are the risks associated with this product? Saefwell is an expert, so our external specialist consultants will provide this background. Just giving you an example. So external specialist consultants might be better informed about potential risks and may be able to alert the board to risks that have been overlooked. That is why they seek specialist services like Saefwell. So Saefwell maintains a detailed database of the threat profiles associated with doing business in 97 countries. Major advantage for us is we do business in so many countries, so we know the risk, we know the profiles of that particular country. So we can advise on strategic risks associated with international expansion, either through investment or by conducting a new business with foreign suppliers or customers. Whatever the strategy risk may be. Strategy can be developing new product, developing new market, developing new customer, developing new supplier. We are able to answer these questions with a risk analysis because of my company's profile. So data will be a huge asset and risk area for this business. We have all of this data that we have stored. We have access to huge quantity of internal and external data as we will be working collaboratively with customers. So it's going to be very important for us to understand. So it's going to be very important for us to know the benefits of data and the risk of data. So privacy of this information must be of primary concern. We know real world examples where companies have paid millions of dollars because their data which they have stored has not been kept safely. This is your P3 syllabus, right? So Saefwell's consultants are also experienced in developing risk assessments associated with other factors such as new industries or launching new products. Like I said, any strategy risk you are able to help with. After that, they've given us extract from Saefwell's annual report. So they provided us the services that we offer. Now we have extracts from the report. So in this report, there are three main things to know: mission, vision, and values. These three are the pillars for any organization. You will have to hammer it into your mind that no organization can be greatly successful if it doesn't follow its mission, follow its vision, or follow its values. So whenever in the strategic case study exam, please remember to use mission, vision, values in your answers. For example, when you are writing anything about your company, you can start your answer by saying one of our core values are being innovative. So this will tell the examiner that you know the core values of your business. It adds integration marks, it adds business skill marks. So all of this is very important to understand, to know your company firstly. But second, you are getting great ideas to include these explanations which I am giving, or include these words in your mock question writing to gain better, higher marks. Responsibilities. We already know what each director is good at, but then they've given us a board breakdown as well. So at the top we have Greg, Chief Executives. Under that we have Bai, looking at physical security, Murat looking at intelligence security, then we have Sabine looking at finance, then we have John looking at legal, risk, business, ethics. So pretty much all functions are given to one person. Everything related to finance goes under Sabine. Everything related to legal, risk, business, ethics goes under John. So there are different functions that we have created. So this identifies at the head office like a very functional structure. For organizations that are growing, that are large, that are vast, a functional structure to start with is okay, but expansion to a divisional structure, specifically in our case, because we have such large representation in different number of countries with 4 different regional offices as well. So having a divisional structure could help based on let's say geography. For example, Europe is one division, Asia one division, Southeast Asia another division, for example North America another division. So divisional based structure could be the next step forward for our company. So I just want you to have the knowledge of a divisional based structure and a matrix structure from your syllabus areas. But right now we have a functional structure in place. After that, very important information is given to us in terms of the committees. For this, your P3 knowledge is the most important thing for you to have. Only then you will understand it. Because the corporate governance code says that every listed organization should have 4 committees: audit, remuneration, nomination, and risk committee. So it's a very good thing that my business, which is such a large business, is complying to this first. But let's make an overall view now. Looking at all of my directors, executives, non-executives, we can clearly see that all of them are highly qualified, highly experienced, and they merit their positions. Some of the directors are new. They have been appointed to their roles in 2021, 2022, 2023. It's okay, but they have been working with the organization before that in another capacity. But they are well educated as well and experienced. So they will be able to propel the company forward. From corporate governance, the first tick mark is having these committees. It's a good thing. But also there are other corporate governance rules. The other rule is that CEOs and chairman should be 2 separate people. Tick mark. Greg is the CEO. Dr. Pratima is the non-executive chairman. Okay, good, being met. The corporate governance rule says that the board of directors should be made up of equal number of executive directors, equal number of non-executive directors, so that there is not too much power given to the executives. Over here, we see that the board is not made up of equal number of executives versus NEDs. We have 4 executive directors plus the CEO, 3 non-executive directors plus the chairman. So there is an imbalance which is seen over here. So from the corporate governance perspective, 1 non-executive director needs to be added. Now, whenever you're talking about internal controls, when you go to mock question writing or appointing a new director, you can keep in mind that there is lack of IT representation on the board, plus there is 1 non-executive director which is less to bring balance to the board. So you can suggest accordingly now. That is why this analysis is very, very important. So imbalance is seen in the board. CEO and chairman is 2 different people. Good thing. Presence of committee is there. Good thing. But all the committees mentioned for a big company like ours must have 3 independent non-executive directors part of them. Over here, we see that chairman is, for example, let's pick the audit committee. In the audit committee, chairman is part, plus there are 2 independent non-executive directors. Same way, risk committee, chairman is part, 2 independent. So there were 2 non-executive directors only. The chairman can be part of that committee, but he cannot chair that committee. So he cannot be the leader of that committee. So from the corporate governance perspective, again, if 1 non-executive director is added and that independent non-executive director becomes part of the audit committee, risk committee, nominations committee, because that's where the chairman is also on the committee, right? Then I would say that the committees are well staffed. As we are a big company, appointing another NED who could be part of these committees could be the way forward. Only the remuneration committee right now has 3 independent non-executive directors part. All the others has 2 plus chairman, 2 plus chairman, 2 plus chairman, which is not wrong. But for a big company, 3 independent non-executive directors and then the chairman can be part of that committee is the right way forward. So this is one suggestion or something that came up to our mind during this discussion. That is why it's important for me to point it out to you. Saefwell's chief internal auditor reports to the audit committee. This is good practice, standard practice. Internal auditor reports to audit committee reports to the board of directors. Simple standard practice. The rules of different committees, the roles of different committees are important to understand, which is again very, very clear in your P3 syllabus area. So this was understanding the board of my company. Next, we have principal risks. Guess what? You have already done the risk analysis, because from the very beginning, I have asked you to list down the important risks which my company could face, the important risk areas which my company will, be facing. So I hope you have created that list of risks already with you. Let's keep that in mind and then go through this principal risk which Saefwell has identified in its pre-scene, in its company operations itself. So let's start. The first risk is physical security and intelligence services rely heavily on our ability to recruit and train large number of staff. If we are not able to recruit and train the staff, we can't provide our service. So what are we doing for this? We have strong human resource policies in place to deal with screening new staff. Saefwell monitors staff turnover closely and is responsible to emerging concerns about staff retention. Our core values are also of being responsive. So first risk is about ability to recruit and train large numbers of staff. Only then we can provide our service. To mitigate this, we are trying to be as responsive as possible to staff turnovers and focus on human resources policies. Second, the nature of physical security and some intelligence security services expose staff to health and safety risk. Physical security assignments can require staff to work in dangerous environments. Consultants on intelligence-led assignments may be exposed to health and safety risks during their foreign travel. So second risk is health and safety risk. How are we mitigating this? All of the assignments are subject to rigorous risk assessments. Staff are trained to operate in specific high-risk environments as appropriate to their assignments. Consultants are briefed on all risks associated with travel and are provided with all necessary vaccinations. So second risk was health and safety. How are we dealing with it? By rigorous risk assessments, by training my employees in high risk environments and being as preventive as possible for travel. Third risk, providing risk management services exposes Saefwell to reputational risk. We already noted this. The provision of physical security services creates a risk of injury to security staff, client staff, third parties, bystanders, anybody. Intelligence-led security services could leave the company's reputation at risk in the event of allegations that clients were advised poorly. So again, now there is a reputational risk which is spoken about in terms of physical security, injury, and in terms of not giving proper advice. How are we mitigating this? Saefwell's risk assessments prior to acceptance of any assignment take the risk of reputational damage into consideration. If we feel that by doing something wrong in this specific area it's going to hugely affect my reputation, you pull out. So third risk was reputational risk, and how is it being managed? Before any assignment, keep reputation in your mind. Last, Saefwell enters into complex, long-term, high-value contracts, particularly in relation to physical security. Contract terms can prove onerous. For example, foreign contracts may be billed in clients' currencies. So how do we deal with this? All contracts are subject to detailed review. Ongoing contracts are reviewed regularly, and any adverse issues are identified and managed where possible. So currency risk is very, very clearly mentioned in my risk report. So your currency risk management, invoicing in your home currency, bill discounting, and other currency risk management techniques, 100% question is going to come up in it in the exam. So it's a top issue. F3 syllabus, I've already pointed it out. Next, Saefwell is subject to information security risk as well, IT risk as well. And to prevent this, we have invested heavily in cyber security controls and defenses. I have already provided this as, or rather I have already discussed all of these. I have already provided all of these as risk areas, which and I have provided corresponding revision areas as well for you on the same. But from the beginning, if you've been listening to me, then this principal risks which they have identified have already been covered by us. But it was part of the pre-scene, so we go through them. Again, my question is, but are these the only risks that we are facing? Why are we limiting our risk analysis? There are a lot more risks which I can think of. Big data risk, personal data risk, government policies change, litigation risk, staff turnover risk, flexibility of management, financial risk. We have discussed a whole bunch of risks which have not even been mentioned over here. So that is where your risk list, that is where this risk analysis that we discussed, you need to combine both of them and understand what the major areas are in terms of risk for your company. Because we are repeatedly talking about risk, the COSO ERM framework, Enterprise Risk Management Framework, is important. It brings the discussion of the COSO model of internal controls as well. These theories could come in handy when you are writing your answers on risk framework, internal controls framework, which is there in your P3 syllabus. That is why I am mentioning them to you. That is why I am discussing them with you. So this was part 2 of my pre-scene analysis, where the entire company operations, services, people who are running the company has been spoken about. Your job is to very carefully now go through part number 2, make the list of important topics, again E3, P3 and F3, very comfortably understand the stuff that I have explained, and then move on to part number 3, which is financial analysis of Saefwell. So the first thing that we will do is we will look at the absolute numbers that they have given to us as part of the pre-scene. So I've taken the actual screenshot of the profit or loss statement. That's the first thing that we'll go through. And after that, I will share with you my analysis of the profit or loss statement. So let's start. First, revenue. It's in millions, but I'm going to read the numbers as they are on your screen. 15,830 in 2022 million became 16,840. So there was a good increase in revenue, a good sign for the business. Next, the operating costs, the cost to serve or the cost to create that revenue also went up. But it is good for us to see and good for us to know that the revenue increased more than the costs. So revenue is going up, the cost is also going up, but in less proportion, which is the reason why we made a healthy operating profit of 2694, which is an increase from last year. So last year it was 2452, it became 2694 because the revenue has gone up, but we have been able to control the costs. The finance costs have remained the same. Finance cost is nothing but the interest that you pay on your loans. Now finance cost is the same. It can mean, pretty much that no new debt finance was taken in this year, because if no new loans would have been taken, new interest would have had to be paid. So it's pretty clear that no new loan has been taken or no loan has been repaid, because if the loan would have been repaid, your finance cost would have gone down. Nothing like that has happened. We will see this in the statement of financial position as well in our balance sheet, but right now let's focus on what's in front of us. Finance costs have remained the same. Next, there is the tax expense. From 360, it became 399. So this got me to the profit for the year, which is a healthy increase from the last year. Now, by looking at absolute numbers, we don't always get a very clear picture, right? So we have created my analysis for you. We have created my breakdown for you. Let's see the breakdown and you will see that the stuff makes a lot more sense now. For example, increase in revenue has been 6.3%. Operating costs have only gone up by 5.7%. Like I said, revenue went up, but costs also went up, but by a less margin. This gave me a good healthy increase in operating profit of 9.8%. Finance cost increase is 0. Profit before tax increase is 10.74 because the same amount of loan remained when your profit went up. So naturally, your profit before tax will go up compared to last year, close to 11%, let's put it that way. Your tax from 360 went up to 390. The straightforward explanation is that you earned more, so you pay more tax. And that is proven by the effective tax rate, which has remained constant. In 2022, tax rate was 16%. In 2023, tax rate is still 16%. So it's a clear indication that tax has gone up because we have made more profit. Both our margins, operating profit, profit after tax, have increased, bettered from last year because we have been able to control our costs and generate a higher revenue. So a very good sign for my business is that we are moving forward in the right direction in terms of revenue increase. But if I want to further push my revenue forward, I know I need to focus on intelligence-led services. So this is your statement of profit or loss analysis. See, first we looked at absolute numbers, but second I gave you my explanation, my analysis on those numbers to make your life much more easier. The second reason for me to give you this analysis is same like the core values, same like the director competencies, so that you can use it when the time comes in your mock question writing. For example, when you are writing something, you can say that our revenue has gone up by 6%. That is why I've highlighted revenue. You can say that your profit before tax went up by close to 11%. And then you continue writing your answer. Whatever you have to write your answer, continue writing, but you embed this information in your answer. The examiner knows that this student has studied the profit or loss statement. The examiner will give you the business acumen, business credit for this. You are a senior finance manager. Remember this. You need to know the ins and outs of your business. So this is why this analysis is important. Yes, you understand the company, but second, you can use this. I'm not asking you to remember all of these numbers. No. The ones that I've highlighted, like revenue, like profit before tax, operating profit, try to keep them in your mind, one or two of them in your mind, and use it when the time comes. It will add great business acumen to your writing. And this is free areas that I'm giving you to gain opportunity on in terms of marks. Why would we not include it? It's free opportunity or opportunistic marks which you have at your hands, which I'm explaining to you as well. So we did the consolidated statement of profit or loss, absolute numbers, my analysis, and everything that I spoke about has been put in word form as well in my conclusion, which you can read through. That is the statement of profit or loss. The next statement they have given me is statement of changes in equity. So the statement of changes in equity for 2023 has been given. We start with the opening balance. We then have retained earnings carried forward 2667. To that, there is a currency reserve which you already have, a negative currency reserve that you already have for 360 million, which gives you your opening balance of 2807 total. And now I am going to discuss the comparative statements with you, which will make the situation clear in any case. Okay, so let's start. Comparative profit or loss, left hand side, revenue for both companies has gone up, costs for both companies have gone up, but less than the increase in revenue. If you look in terms of profit, Brotto's profit was, so the profit is the profit percentage increase is the place where Brotto is beating us. Maybe they are able to control costs more efficiently than me. That is why my profit was 10%, theirs was 13.35. That is why their increase in profit before tax was 15%, where mine was only 11. So we are the larger company, yes, but in terms of percentage, Brotto is beating me in operating profit and in profit before tax, which means my business expenses, admin expenses need to be controlled, operational expenses need to be controlled. Or maybe Brotto is focusing on more profitable products, like profitable services, like intelligence-led services, where we are more focusing more revenue is being generated in security services, in physical security services. Maybe that is why their profits are higher. Their profits are increasing at a higher rate. Something for us to think about. Because everything else is pretty standard except for these two very clear eye openers for my business. So this was a very, very brief summary covering yet very important and vital material. The financial analysis, I only touched on major areas. There is still lots that we have discussed in our full pre-scene analysis. So if you would like access to that, or you want to know more about our material, just go to fintutors.com, open up any web browser, go fintutors.com. It will come up. We also have a free mini course with industry analysis, top 10 issues, blueprint explanations on our website, which you can take a look at. It's on the home page itself. It's free. Try it out to see our material and how, a lot of free stuff is available to further enhance your preparation for this exam. I hope you found it helpful. Good luck on your exam.